welcome to Visual Recreation, the essential video guide to winning FML each and every week. I'm your local movie buff, Drew.
And I'm Joey, your strategy guy, and this weekend we are talking about 3 new movies entering the box office. That's right, we have Breakthrough, a Disneynature film called Penguins, and The Curse of La Llorona.
But this week we're going to break the ice with Breakthrough.
Yes, this is a movie based on an inspirational true story of a boy that fell under the ice of a lake. His mother's unfaltering love and faith that her son is going to make it.
That's right. Now, this movie stars Chrissy Metz from This Is Us, Mike Coulter from Luke Cage, and Topher Grace from Spider-Man 3 fame. And That 70s Show, I guess.
Oh, nice. And fun fact about this movie, this is executive produced by Steph Curry.
Ooh, NBA All-Star point guard Steph Curry with that 3. Ooh, that was a fun fact. Now, this movie was directed by Roxanne Dawson, who has an illustrious resume for directing TV shows such as Lost Heroes and The Americans.
Okay. This movie is also sitting at just fresh at 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's premiering in 2,700 theaters.
That's right. Now, the long-range forecast has this around $13 million, which is like 4% lower than last week's percentage, but we think that's because of Endgame's coming up soon, so everybody could be saving up their money, waiting to go to the movies to go see that monstrous of a heat. Now, when looking at comps, last Easter, we had God's Not Dead 3 premiere in 1,700 theaters to 2.7 million.
Okay.
Granted, that was part of a franchise,
right,
and it was the 3rd movie, so people could have been kind of tired of it. Easter weekend of 2014, Heaven is for Real, which I feel as though this movie is kind of more alike.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In a sense, that one premiered to 22 million in around 2,400 theaters. Now, I think because of Easter, this could get a bump up, and church groups could be going to it. It's not like unplanned. This one has a very nice, uplifting message that could be good for the whole family. So I think this one could get a little bit of a bump, maybe even do a little bit more than 13 million. But what do you think, Joey?
Faith-based communities are gonna enjoy this movie, I feel like. So I think the 13 million can get a bump up. I mean, if you talking about that last comp with Heaven is for Real, that's a more closer comp, so I agree with that. So yeah, maybe higher teens for this one.
Higher teens.
Bringing it up. Yeah, bringing it up.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, the next movie we're going to be talking about is a Disneynature film. Now, we've had pandas, we've had monkeys, and we've had bears.
Oh my!
But now we get penguins.
So this is a movie that is falling in line with the Disneynature series, where they come out with a documentary focusing on one animal every Earth Day, and this Earth Day is penguins, where they are following a certain penguin named Steve, and his voyage to find a place to nest for life and to find a life partner. But realistically, who isn't looking for that? Am I right?
I guess.
Single ladies call me.
Not me.
I'm available.
Yeah, well, this one is rated G, and the run time for this movie is 76 minutes. It's in 1,700 theaters, so.
That's right, and the long-range forecast has this, pro box office has this around 4.25 million. Okay. Again, percentage lower from last weekend. We think that's because of the whole Endgame thing coming up next weekend.
For sure.
With that, we looked at some of the comps for Disneynature. Born in China in April of 2017, opened to $4.8 million in 1,500 theaters. Okay. Monkey Kingdom opened in 2015 to around $4.6 million in 2,000 theaters. And then Bears in 2014 opened to $4.8 million in 1,700 theaters. So that $4.25 million is kind of in range. I mean, same time of year, every year. You have the same theater count, and we're getting around that time. But what do you think, Joey? Do you think it could hit that 4 million, or is that kind of overshooting it?
I mean, the track record's right there. I mean, it's pretty much gonna be around the same. I feel like it's gonna be the same, around that 4 million marker. I mean, you just mentioned those 3 movies, but we have to remember it's coming out on Wednesday.
That's right.
So that could affect things.
That's right. Breakthrough and Penguins premiere on Wednesday, April 17th. There's only one big wide release, and that's the next movie we're talking about, and that is the Curse of La Llorona. La Llorona, women always cry. Gonna take all the kids, gonna cry. Oh, why don't you take Velma's kids? Why? Woo!
I like that, yes. Well, this was set in 1970s. The spirit, 1970s, the spirit called La Llorona is looking for children to snag. Yeah, and it's up to a cop, a mother, to put an end to it.
That's right. Now, this is all stemming from the Mexican folklore of La Llorona, of the same name, and it translates to the weeping woman who, legend says, had drowned her kids, and now she is crying, looking through the river to find her kids, and normally she causes misfortune to whoever hears or is near her.
Interesting. So
That's
if you
right.
hear her or you're near her, she's gonna kill you.
That is true. Now, this movie stars Linda Cardinelli and Raymond Cruz.
Okay. Now, this movie is written by Mickey Daughtry and Tobias Ianconis, who both also collaborated on a movie called 5 Feet Apart.
I feel as though I've heard that one before.
Yeah,
Fairly recently.
that's true.
Now, this movie is rated R, and it premieres in 3,400 plus theaters. The long-range forecast has this at $19 million, which is 5% lower than last week. Again, Avengers, I feel as though, is taking a lot of that pull. Also, we haven't seen a real horror movies coming out on Easter.
Yeah.
So, we looked online for New Line comps. Now, New Line Cinemas made such horror movies as The Nun, Annabelle Creation, Annabelle, Conjuring, all these great horror movies.
Yeah.
Most recent was The Nun. However, that's not a good comp because everybody was so hyped about that movie. It was part of a franchise. It was a spin-off. So we looked at other ones that came out. You have Lights Out that premiered in 2016 to $22 million. Again, that came out in late July of 2016. Then The Gallows premiered in 2015 to $9.8 million. Granted, again, late July. What about any R-rated horror movies that came out in April, Joey? Do you have any of those?
Yeah, so there were some R-rated horror movies that came out in April. You had Unfriended that opened late April in 2015 to $16 million, and that was in 2,700 plus theaters.
Wow.
Then you had Oculus that opened mid-April 2014 to $12 million in 2,600 theaters.
Not a good movie.
And then you had Evil Dead Remake that opened early April 2013. That was $26 million in 3,000 theaters. So, I mean, this movie, La Llorona, has, what was it, 3,200 plus? 3,400 plus theaters working for it. So it could be a contender for, I don't know, $19 plus million.
Yeah, it definitely has the theater count, right? It has 3,400 plus theaters. We have hardly seen any real horror movie get that. That's not really in high anticipation. That's not like It and all those other movies.
Right.
But it is coming out on a weird kind of month. We've seen standalone horror movies do great, but it's also Easter, and I don't know how. Like, we looked at the track record on Easter, not real horror movies are coming out this time of year in the past. So maybe they're trying to start a trend. I'm going to go see it this weekend, but I just don't know where to put this one. It really is difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you have people who really like those heartfelt movies, probably lean to Breakthrough, but you also have big fans of these horror type movies. This one looks really creepy. So, I mean, hey, they may flock to that. Like you said, it's got theater count behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can easily see 19 for this, maybe even more.
Right.
So
again, I just want to reiterate for the audience, both Breakthrough and Disneynature are coming out on Wednesday. So the long-range forecast was Wednesday through Friday, so they could be lower than what we just mentioned in the video.
That's true.
La Llorona is getting 3,400 plus theaters, but we've seen all the long-range forecasts kind of drop. Endgame's coming out next weekend. You got a whole bunch of competition out.
Yeah.
You have people that are going to go see Captain Marvel again before Endgame, the week before Endgame, and then you have people staying home or either going to church or just staying home to celebrate Easter or just saving up money to go see Avengers Endgame. So that's just my little poll there for you guys. That's just my opinion on this whole thing. We could see a low-end week this week.
Yeah, and just in terms of playing the fantasy game here, that's a good point you brought up about Captain Marvel, because that could get
Oh, yeah.
a little more of a bump because people are trying to not only watch all the movies leading up to Endgame, but they might need a little quick refresher on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you're doing that 22-movie marathon, you're ending, if you're doing all the release dates, you're ending with Captain Marvel, and you're going to do it probably this weekend if you can't hit it during the week.
Definitely. But now it's time for your favorite segment, the random shout-outs. What do you got for us?
I'm going to do a random shout out to the Easter Bunny.
Oh, okay.
Every childhood I had, which was only one, had a great Easter Bunny. I always had a basket, always had all these little eggs, and one year I had Pokemon stickers in my eggs.
Oh.
I don't know what the Easter Bunny ate to do that, but thanks, man. I know you did. I did know you did your best.
Gotta catch them all. And now my random shout out goes to the Cadbury Bunny eggs. One of my favorite treats around Easter time. The chocolate covered egg with the, I don't know, the cream in the middle. Hey, shout out to you guys. Keep making them, but can we lower the prices back down? Just jacking them up.
Well, not everybody can eat Cadbury eggs, Joe. You gotta earn your right to eat Cadbury eggs.
Yeah, well, but that's all we got for you in this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to click subscribe. Watch some of our other videos over here. And remember,
sometimes you gotta risk it to get that biscuit.